What's going on, y'all? This is Greg. Greg said it. I'm back with inspiration, motivation, as promised. We had a nice live. I felt like that live was probably the longest live I've had. Maybe had a little extra time, but just really tried to drive home. What some agree about, some may not care about, some disagree about. I'm pretty firm on that. It's not like a secondhand theory. I kind of have thought through it. It's not a new theory, and I'm kind of passionate about the theory because I'm seeing the impact, and it's becoming more and more real that situation can make a break, because it ain't like it's going away. People say it's a dead horse, but it's still going on. And what we was talking about is with the whole, what I call the daytime bus versus the nighttime bus. I talked about the daytime bus today on the live, and people still trying to figure out, before the game, they was like, I want to see the UCF bus. We're back. You hot, you cold. You hot, you cold. I said, we back. And you're going to see you back when you go back to the night game if certain adjustments not made, just as far as how they look and how they feel. Because people trying to say, well, we play good in away games. Come on, man. You can't be that gullible. I mean, even in the same season, our best and our worst games have been away games. So you can't say we play our best. Yeah, we played some decent away games compared to the day games, to home games. But the reality is, our Nebraska game was the worst game, and that was an away game, but it was also a night game. What I've pointed out is the fact that CU has played the best game at daytime. It just so happened that the daytime games were away. I seen last year that some of the best games they played were daytime, including that Nebraska game. I would even include the TCU game. I noticed that last year Colorado was 3-0, and everybody was hyped. And most of those games were day. Now I know the CU game wasn't day. That was one of the worst games. I know the Stanford game I think it was a Friday, and it was a super duper late game because it was a Friday, like 10 o'clock game. I know that the Washington State game was a game, and they have nothing in common because one was at home, both other two was at home. Washington State was away, and Oregon was away. That was a outlier because that was a day game that was away. But when you really look at all the night games where they were sluggish and lethargic, I pointed out, you look at what happened at UCLA last year, when you look at Washington State, you look at Stanford, there's some weird stuff going on. But you look at the Utah game, which I feel they pretty much won. They had to steal 3 touchdowns to win by 3 points. That was also a daytime game. So I'm feeling really sure that the games in the day has an impact. And that's because they practice it today. And the reason why they're struggling at night and they kind of lethargic and slow and sleepy and not playing a full game, because their body's already programmed to shut down around that time. They are not doing strenuous activity. They are not putting themselves in that game-like a football environment that time of day. They practicing at 10 o'clock in the morning, and they insist on sticking that way, and they're not adjusting it to their night schedule. They may do a walk through the night before the game, but they're not in a strenuous football intense environment except when they're practicing during the day. And I simply said, make the adjustments. People say, what's the excuse other teams play? I'm not talking about the other schools. I'm talking about the history with this school. People want to move the goalposts. They want to compare apples to oranges. I specifically laid out the history of CU. Ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. I don't even know their schedule. They might not even practice in the morning. They may practice at 3. I know when I was in college, we practiced at 3. I've never practiced in the morning, ever. Except when we did like tour days and stuff like that. But our regular practice schedule was always around the time we played. And we typically played in the afternoon. Because I've always seen the typical college schedule. You typically played around 1 p.m. You might play a 3 p.m. game. You get a night game every now and then. I know TV is different because, that's the prime time, right? And I was just saying, I don't even see prime time anymore because there's so many networks out there and there's so many teams. Even when you playing prime time, I don't care if you playing on a Thursday or Friday, it's 3-4 games on. When Colorado got moved to Thursday, like, it's going to be the only game. That was a lie. It was other games going on. They may not have been as popular, but it's never a time. Whether you playing at 1, 3, 8, 10, it don't matter. There's other games going on. Tell my mind. So it's like that whole prime time thing, though, you're going to be the only one playing. That only really works. I've only seen that work in the pros. When they put you at that 8 o'clock slot because nobody else is playing. But when they come to college, you got ESPN 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got the FCS, not FCS, FS1 network. You got Fox and CB. All of them got their own channel going on. You got all the other ESPN channels that everybody may or may not have. Maybe they have through the app. You have that going on. You got so many other sports channels. There's plenty of them. I have that Tanggula box. Shout out to Tanggula. Make sure y'all get y'all Tanggula box. Have over 10,000 channels. Have many sports channels, movie channels, all that. Defeatcable.com. That's what I have. So it ain't a channel I don't have. So when the game start late and they move it to another channel, I go head over there. I don't miss the whole first quarter no more. I go head to ESPN News or ESPNU or wherever the game at until the other game in, and they started on one of those, alternative channels. I call it bootleg. But I make the points I make because in life you got to know how to see patterns. I promise I'll talk about this day. I started to get into this in live. Like, I'm going to have to do this inspiration motivation later. Because a lot of people fail in life because they refuse to identify the shift. And they can't identify the shift because they can't identify patterns. And what that looks like is when things are happening and it's no longer a coincidence. Like, for example, Colorado's played as of Saturday coming up, Cincinnati, the 8th game. They will have played 6 out of 8 games this year. I'm the only one breaking it down like that. And other people gonna make light of that. But you show me anybody out there playing 6 night games out of 8. That's just abuse. If anything, you're supposed to have played 6 day games. No matter if it's 1, 12, 3, 4, like they played 2, 4 o'clock. Or 4 o'clock Eastern. And they played, I think that was Central Time, but it was 4 o'clock Eastern. They played these games, and realistically, most people may play 2, 3 night games, depending on they playing prime time. But even when they playing them, they're not playing them back to back necessarily. They may once, but they're not playing, night game, day game, night game, late night game, day game, late night game. That's kind of egregious because it shouldn't be that off. It shouldn't be that lopsided. Some people say it's for the money, and I'm saying, well, why do they got to play all the night spots? Is they desperate to get on TV, you trying to say? Or you say it's actually a good thing that they get to be on TV, but play the night games, the 10 o'clock games over and over again, even though they're no longer on the West Coast or playing teams on the West Coast. And you try to sell it like, oh, that's a good thing, the networks. But if it's not benefiting you, if it's making you play bad, if you're losing games, if it's counterproductive to your programming, how's that a good thing? You got bigger programs, more popular programs. Yeah, like you don't want to get ratings. They're not playing them in the night games. They're playing mostly traditional games. And I believe their audience and their fan base will fall out with the networks, and they have some real consequences, repercussions if you set up that and make them play night game. And it's just not beneficial for nobody, even the fans. Like, they used to playing at a certain time. And if it's really about the ratings and who bringing the crowd, I would think, regardless of if Colorado is ranked or not, that they would be in one of those early TV spots. That's really the premium, because that's when other people playing. Because you can't say, I only want to play with nobody else playing, because it's not really a case for that. So you can go ahead and play at one, and people going to watch you because they want to watch you. Or they're going to flip back and forth. It's not really benefiting Colorado. You can say they get money, but they're going to get money anyway, because the people going to watch the game anyway. They even watching the game They even watching the game at 10 o'clock when they don't want to. I just see common sense that you losing money when you play that late because people sleep. Your advertising dollars are not as effective. It's not as attractive. So that's the patterns I'm looking at. I'm looking at all the excuses. I'm looking at all the, I got 2 years now. You got last year and half of this year. And I'm saying, well, no, that's a pattern. I'm looking at the results. That's a pattern. They're not really playing that good. You keep complaining about how slow start. You're blaming on them. You're not even connected to the fact they keep playing at night, and then their body's not really programmed for that. Their mind's not really programmed for that. Why is it not just as easy to say it's other factors? And life is factors, man. Some factors are set up against you to fail. Some people in poverty because of factors. Sometimes people just jump straight to racism, just like we jump straight to money. It's shallow, it's simple. It may be that, but doggone it, that ain't your answer for everything. You could forever be a victim if you always looking at the wrong thing, because that'll set you up real nice too, and let you always be looking at the wrong thing. Because really it's factors. It could be several factors, but you have to be able to identify them. And like I said, you gotta look at the patterns to prove if it's true or false. Who cares what you want to believe? Who cares about your emotions? The patterns will, it's like math. It will prove itself. A plus B gonna be C. If you keep losing and you keep having the same problems and the same complaints and the same result over and over again, you the crazy one. You expect something different. They call that insanity. Do the same thing over and over, expect different result. If see you keep saying they struggling, they don't do nothing different. Wow, they practice, change their practice schedule, actually try practicing at night. If they don't do that and they keep doing what hasn't worked, maybe because they're not identifying what hasn't worked, then you're gonna get the same results. A hard fought, struggling game, uncharacteristic of what you know should be taking place and what you've seen take place in the daytime. So I like to always say, I like to use these principles, these lessons we see, even in football, and they actually can apply to our life. They actually can apply to our careers. They actually can apply to our relationships. They can apply to our health. You know, they apply to our wealth, like I said, because if you don't identify the pattern and you keep looking over what's clearly in front of you, because you want to believe something else, or you want to believe somebody who really don't care for you like that, somebody who intentionally misleading you, you're going to believe them, like we see in the media. You're going to believe somebody who really did and one trying to set you up. They didn't want giving you these false prescriptions. They didn't want giving you these false reasons for why things are happening. Meanwhile, you keep looking at the same crap and you just fall in the same hole. You ain't had enough sense yet to say, let me shift, let me adjust, let me do something different. This crap ain't working. It just keep happening over and over and over again. I keep listening to people tell me lies. Oh, this is why that happened. That ain't why it happened. I know it ain't why it happened, but I want to believe it. Maybe I don't want to believe what's really in front of me. Maybe I don't want to be uncomfortable. Maybe I don't want to adjust. Whatever the reason, it's up to you. Either you're going to win, you're going to lose. Or it's going to be either you're going to adjust or you're going to be comfortable. Either you're going to be uncomfortable so you can win, or you can be comfortable so you can lose. Man, that's deep. That's like, oh, bro, that's deep. You're going to make the changes you need to make so you can succeed, or you're going to say, I don't feel like doing all that. I'll just stick with what I got. And that's what CU is. They going to just keep settling for these, I don't know, like I said, uncharacteristic games, or they going to adjust and meet the challenge head on. Because if you don't show you can handle it and somebody trying to set you up with that game, that type of schedule, something going on, they keep giving it to you. If you don't adjust, they're going to keep giving it to you, especially if they're getting them the results that they like. or it's more likely to get them the results that they like. I say, well, they scared of them daytime buffs, and daytime buffs are a little different. They come out fast, they aggressive, they step on you. If I want you to fail, I can't keep putting you in a situation where you possibly do that. It be unfair for me. I'm gonna put you at disadvantage when I'm against you. Surely you don't trust the networks. Surely you don't trust somebody who's trying to trip you up, to be honest with you. While you're looking at all the results, not quite favorable to you. Y'all think about that. I'm just Greg. Greg said it. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.